Hi, it's Tech Trailblazer. Today in this video we are going to see session hijacking techniques, session hijacking process, type of session hijacking in OSI model, and in last we are going to know difference between spoofing versus hijacking. Going forward with session hijacking. Session hijacking. In order to understand the session hijacking concept, assume an authenticated TCP session between two hosts. The attacker intercepts the session and takes over the legitimate authenticated session. When a session authentication process is complete, and the user is authorized to use resources such as web services, TCP communication or other, the attacker takes advantage of this authenticated session and places himself in between the authenticated user and the host. Authentication process initiates at the start of TCP session only. Once the attacker successfully hijacks the authenticated TCP session, traffic can be monitored, or attacker can get the role of the legitimate authenticated user. Session hijacking becomes successful because of weak session IDs or no blocking upon receiving an invalid session ID. Session hijacking techniques. Session hijacking process is categorized into the following three techniques. Stealing. Stealing category includes the different technique of stealing session ID such as referrer attack, network sniffing, Trojans or by any other mean. Guessing. Guessing category include tricks and techniques used to guess the session ID such as by observing the variable components of session IDs or calculating the valid session ID by figuring out the sequence, etc. Brute forcing. Brute forcing is the process of guessing every possible combination of credential. Usually, brute forcing is performed when an attacker gains information about the range of session ID. Session hijacking process. The process of session hijacking involves sniffing. Attacker attempt to place himself in between victim and target in order to sniff the packet. Monitoring. Monitor the traffic flow between victim and target. Session desynchronization. The process of breaking the connection between the victim and the target. Session ID. Attacker takes control over the session by predicting the session ID. Command injection. After successfully taking control over the session, the attacker starts injecting the commands. Types of session hijacking. Active attack. The active attack includes interception in the active session from the attacker. An attacker may send packets to the host in the active attack. In an active attack, the attacker is manipulating the legitimate users of the connection. As the result of an active attack, the legitimate user is disconnected from the attacker. Passive attack. The passive attack includes hijacking a session and monitoring the communication between hosts without sending any packet. Session hijacking in OSI model. Network level hijacking. Network level hijacking includes hijacking of a network layer session such as TCP or UDP session. Application level hijacking. Application level hijacking includes hijacking of application layers such as hijacking HTTPS session. Spoofing versus hijacking. The major difference between spoofing and hijacking is of the active session. In a spoofing attack, the attacker is pretending to be another user by impersonating to gain access. The attacker does not have any active session, it initiates a new session with the target with the help of stolen information. Hijacking is basically the process of taking control over an existing active session between an authenticated user and a target host. The attacker uses the authenticated session of a legitimate user without initiating a new session with the target.